I was born into a musical family in Iowa, and there are many generations of musicians in the family. And so a lot of my musical training happened just through the living of my life in Iowa. And I went to school, I studied, went the classical route, and I dropped out and went and studied North Indian classical music. I studied world music. I made a path of exploring all the things that the voice can do. And I spent many years following that path. And in the beginning, early 90s, I started to work with the voice and teach classes, and I began to teach voice lessons then. And I developed a holistic approach to the voice. In the early 90s, I went to France to work with the members of the Roy Hart Theatre and explore the voice and all the strange things that the voice can do, and discovered the link between the voice and the psyche. And when I came back from France, I started to take on students that were very open and willing to explore. And when I combined that work with my spiritual work and the meditation paths that I'd followed for many years, this whole system of working with the voice began to arrive. And so I developed it and I called it vocal energetics. Along with that came a companion piece where I began to sing into the body of clients, and I discovered a system of sound channels that run in the body, and the more I worked with it, the more was revealed. And I called that harmonic healing. And so I practiced that in the 90s here in Portland. And we, at some point in the later 90s, I had a vision where I saw that the whales are the frequency keepers of the earth under the water, and we are the frequency keepers of the earth, on the ground part, the land part. And I heard this assignment. It was like Mission Impossible. I got my card that said, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go to Hawaii and work with the humpback whales and start to communicate with them. So that was the call. I had never been to Hawaii before, and I went out there. And it took me several years to actually manifest the actual sounding with the whales, but I created an instrument out of PVC pipe and duct tape, which everybody should have, and sounded through it, and my voice went underneath the water, and we would do this caller response type of chanting together. It was quite incredible. And while I was in Hawaii, I discovered something much deeper about Hawaii, which has to do with the presence of the spirit of aloha there. And aloha is much more than just a greeting or the name of an airline company or a gas station. It's a presence. It's a sense of connectedness of all things, and that it comes from a loving, compassionate heart. And I had the great honor to meet a wonderful leader there, Hawaiian kahuna, he's considered a high chief and respected through all of Polynesia. And his name was Hale Makua. And I worked with him, I saw him quite a lot in the last year plus of his life. And in that, I came to understand what aloha really means. It dropped me into a deeper understanding and experience of it. And that really forever changed things for me. And I understood Hawaii to be my spiritual home. And that's one reason why it's so important for me to get my body there with some regularity, because I need to have the kinesthetic experience of being in the islands. Hawaii has a very special quality about it in that the elements of creation are very alive and present there, and the island itself is in the process of being created. New land is being created, so there's constant motion going in the earth, and that has a very strong elemental effect on a human body. And then you have the effect of the waves, the ocean, how it's a rock basically Hawaii is several mountains that rise up from the bottom of the sea, and then it's surrounded by this huge Pacific Ocean, and that has a mirroring effect energetically. So it's going to exaggerate and anything that is going on in your life and make it a really good place for reflection and for looking at the things that that want to shift and move you into a deeper place. I've been out in the water in a boat, and in the sunny hot weather in a swimming suit, ready to jump in and swim with the dolphins, and I'll look up at Mauna Kea, which is the highest mountain on the planet, and there's a cloud over Mauna Kea dropping snow on the mountain, and you can watch the snow level come down while you're sitting there in your swimming suit, baking hot in the sun. It's so immediately creative. It's just wonderful, and it draws forth that from within us. It takes us. We tend, the layers melt away, and I've seen this happen over and over and over again. And if you come to it with a certain presence, a certain consciousness, then you can use that energy to your deepest advantage. And so that's what I began to understand through living there and through doing my work there, that it's the land supports you in helping people get to the core of who they are and who we are as precious beings and expressions of the divine. And so it's a wonderful place to work. It's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to connect with the natural forces of life and what it is to be alive. That's why I need to go there regularly. I lived there for 6 or 7 years. I'd come over to the mainland to do tours and teach and do sessions. And then I noticed I was getting sicker. My body felt very toxic, and I wasn't sure what was going on and had these very strange symptoms. And I ended up receiving a download. It hit me like a lightning bolt that I needed to leave the island, and I needed to leave as soon as possible. I was really deeply saddened to have to leave the island, but I also was having a lot of challenges physically, and so it felt right to go. But I was deeply saddened, and so I went to the crater and did my prayers, and I heard that it was important to take the teachings back to my people. My people were back here in Oregon and in the basically on the mainland, and so the principles that we touch on, the qualities that we touch on in Hawaii that are stimulated within us, are qualities that are possible to touch on here. But it's just, life is so dense here, and there's a way that the structures of our life take us into a separation instead of into connection. And so that's been the challenge to me. In a way, it feels like that's where the working edge is to work to bring the aloha into this place, and to know that paradise is with us always. Hawaii is in here. It's in the heart. And it is with me wherever I go.